going to be Dr. Ruwan Veerasinghe from the University of Colombo School of Computing. Welcome to Dr. Ruwan. He has over 20 years of teaching experience and has been dealing more recently with issues of scaling ICT education through the use of appropriate technology. He has served on various committees and boards in the higher education and the information and communication technology ministries of Sri Lanka over the years. He has also been part of the original group involved in introducing internet and email connectivity to the universities and the country as a whole through the Lanka Education and Research Network and the Formal Council for Information Technology. From 1997 to 2001, Ruwan served as an instructor for the Developing Country Networking Workshops organized by ISOC, which were associated with the annual INET conferences in those years. He is also the founder, director of the Lanka Software Foundation, a prime mover of FOSS in Sri Lanka. You would have to explain what FOSS is. I'm not aware of that. He serves as a member of the board of the Sri Lanka CERT and advisory board of the Sri Lanka Association of Software and Service Companies. His interests are in human language technology, including machine translation, and particularly in techniques involving employing statistical methods and machine learning using corpora. He leads a group of 6 to 10 researchers involved in language technology at the UCSC's Language Technology Research Lab. He was awarded fellowships by the European Union and by the Fulbright Commission at Carnegie Mellon's Language Technology Institute to pursue these research interests. So Dr. Ruwan, all yours, and his topic is going to be, he's going to be talking about building local language tools and resources.
Thank you.
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I think as Sarmad said, we were one of the partners in the project he talked about, and he left the technology part out because I guess the topic that I'm going to talk about is building local language tools and resources, and with the emphasis being how do we scale it up, as the chairman mentioned. So I'll first talk about a little bit about why local language tools and resources, and then some of the experiences we had at the Language Technology Research Lab at the University of Colombo. And then the main challenge before us, all of us, how do we upscale this and then take it to the people. I think in the morning there was this question about the need for this kind of local language content, and I think the internet, which is the global information network, is playing a more and more important role in building knowledge resources, as we can see, and also networking and empowering people, individuals and groups. Unfortunately, the developing world realities are that our IT literacy rate is low compared to the developed world. The cost of access very often is higher. Network penetration, the so-called last mile problem, we have all those problems, bandwidth problems and so on. But the really key problem is exactly the language problem, because in countries, even in countries where there is high literacy, like in Sri Lanka, the English literacy level is fairly low. So it was reported a few years ago that the English literacy was 10%, and in some other countries in the region, the overall literacy rate also is low. Unfortunately, most content, therefore, that people can access is in foreign languages. So when we see all the Nanasala and so on that talked about this morning, I've been to a few of those the occasions, openings, and what you see is the kids are all excited and they want to get their hands on and do things. But most of the adults, for them, this is like not only the technology, but what comes up on the screen is totally unintelligible because it's in foreign languages. English is obviously the most common language, and then other European languages, and now increasingly Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Arabic, and so on. But the Indic languages still are fairly far behind. So most tools are also, so it's not just the content, but also the tools for other languages, spelling checkers, grammar checkers, parsers, and speech recognition, machine translation, all these things. So we get a machine translation, a speech recognition program, and we try to speak to it the English we know, and we find that it doesn't recognize our what we say. So it's quite frustrating that almost all of these things work for other languages and other accents. And one of the big problems in all this is because to build these things, we need linguistic resources. And these are very, very scarce in local languages. No good dictionaries, thesauri, word nets, corpora, tag sets, grammars. These basic linguistic resources that are needed to build these kinds of software and tools. So we had, through the last 7 or 8 years, had some experience building some tools and resources. I will very quickly outline some of those things. We set up this language technology research lab in 2004 with IDRC funding, and initially concentrated on building tools, for which we need, of course, a strong computer background, students and graduates with a good background in computing. That led to the requirement to build resources, and for that we need various other kinds of people. So computer science graduates can't do that sometimes, so we need other volunteers, linguists, and various kinds of people. And then finally we need to take this to the people. How do we take this to the people? And in some ways, as Sarmad was saying, this is still one of the hardest parts, because we need we have to think outside our traditional ways of thinking, and so even sometimes commercialization is one way to get these things out to the people. Because we thought, everything is free, so we will put it on the web and people will download and use, but they don't. Someone must go and give it to them, and generally these are the vendors. These are some of the tools we developed. Text-to-speech engine, which actually powers a screen reader. Most of these things we did first for Sinhala, and then again a human resource issue, that those people who were doing the Tamil work, the turnover was much higher, and so we didn't have completion on many of the projects for Tamil. OCR primarily for making a text corpus, so for digitizing purposes. So we concentrated on recognizing a few fonts. Translation memory for local languages, because the existing translation memory is a thing that helps you to localize software. So the kind of strings that you have to translate all the time will be automatically given to you by the system, and we found that existing translation memories could not handle complex script and so on, so we had to do some of that work. Dictionary and corpus-based or data-driven spell checkers, some of these things are already available online. Some are incorporated within your standard products. Language teaching framework, we felt that also how can we encourage people to learn Sinhala and Tamil using whatever third language. So you can learn Tamil in Sinhala or Tamil in English, so same for Sinhala. Encoding conversion utilities. I mean, this is not something that we set out to do, but we realize that there are hundreds and thousands of documents already created in proprietary fonts or font encodings, and so we needed to have some way of converting all these to the standard Unicode. most of the stuff is downloadable from that URL, ucsc.lk/ltrl. And then we found that this problem of people having to download, install, and then run was also some kind of a bottleneck. So there was a solution now. You could use Sinhala and Tamil on your computer and so on, and yet people were not doing these things. And so we built some on-screen tools, the primary ones being keyboards, so on-screen keyboard that you can access over the web, a phonetic version and a standard version, a data-driven spell checker, which is also there online for you to actually try to put your documents and get them corrected automatically. And then the most common encoding, you dump on this web page and you get the output in Unicode. We also realize the need for people to learn English. So we don't, I think one of the surveys done had said that, why people don't want to localize their software is because this is the one way you can learn English. If you don't localize the software, you learn English. And so we realize that there are people who also feel that the web may be a way to learn English. And so we have a little plugin for Firefox that actually doesn't translate everything, but it sits behind every web page, and if there's a word you don't understand, English word that you don't understand, you can take your mouse over that word and it pops up the dictionary entries, translation dictionary entries for that word in Sinhala or in Tamil. So most of these things are downloadable from this other site called subasa.lk. And you're welcome. I mean, these are some of the things that are some of our most used tools are in these online on-screen tools. We also did some research in machine translation. Machine translation is one of the most complex tasks for which you need so many resources that we don't have yet. So we employed a statistical method that is getting a lot of translations and trying to get the computer to learn the patterns and do new translations. And we got fairly good results for Sinhala Tamil, but not for English Sinhala or English Tamil. Those language pairs don't do very well using this kind of technology. But for Sinhala Tamil, we are getting good results. This is yet not a tool that is available, but these are at research level. So those are the tools, the resources. One of the most important resources we built up during the PAN localization project was 10 million word Sinhala corpus. So, most people were wondering why we are doing this. Why do we want to build this? A corpus is just a collection of text, and what's the use of that? It turned out that this is one of the most useful resources we have. Unfortunately, we don't completely own the copyright of all the content in this. So most of what we can share with people are derivative works of this, like word list, frequency list, stop word list, and all kinds of things. So which some parties have also